Samoa Zoro is my absolute favorite character in the show One Piece. Yet I'm so happy for Sanji because he's about to get the ultimate power of a true king. Welcome back to Hack Review, everybody. I hope you all had a great day, a great night, or a great morning, wherever the hell you are from. Today, we're going to be talking about slightly One Piece chapter 1187, but most importantly, Sanji. We start the chapter with almost the exact same page as we ended the last chapter, with Luffy punching Imu with a Conqueror's hack attack. Now, yes, did it draw blood from Imu? Absolutely. Was Imu completely out of the fight because of that punch? Absolutely not. I cannot for the life of me understand why and how people could say last chapter that this would be a cakewalk for Luffy. I mean, Imu's the king of the world here. He chopped off fingers in the first chapter. He was introduced in his true form. I don't in fact think that this is his final form or his true form, but it's on the way there. Still, how can you say that Imu would be a cakewalk fight for Luffy? Just how? People were saying it will take maximum 1 or 2 chapters. I think you're wrong, guys. I think you're gravely mistaken. For 1 second, let's just talk about Imu's powers, because there seems to be an aimbot thing going on right now. He tells his omen powers to fly away, attach themselves on top of Loki's scar, and then in an instant, not 3, 4, 5 seconds, no, in an instant, comes up with his stigma attack and stabs Loki with his sword from very far away, but a perfect hit. So Loki flies away, also Ragnar flies away with him and all that. They are near the Straw Hats right now. But let me just explain to you how fast that attack actually is. Luffy had also the omen things attached to him. Fortunately, it was attached to his coat. Otherwise, I think the outcome of the second attack for Imu this chapter would be much more dangerous. Because the exact same thing happened to Luffy. If you see the panel where Luffy is like kind of thinking, it's a shadowed out panel of his face. For me, that panel says that Luffy is using future sight observation haki, yet he could still not get away from the attack fast enough. The attack still hit. If Luffy did not throw his freaking coat away, he would have been hit by that. And so W to Luffy for actually understanding that this situation is very grave and that he is not gonna take this fight lightly in any sense of the matter. So I like that from Luffy W. Now, in this fast-paced chapter, we cut away to Zoro. As he is facing off against Summers, it kind of felt like a build-up for Sanji. Zoro, absolute aura farmer, just the way I know him. He's standing on top of the temple, kind of like Imu when he came into Elbaf for the first time. But Zoro's standing on top of the temple, looking down on Summers, who is also standing there, and they're kind of squaring off, kind of talking trash about one another, like, oh, hey, wait, what are you doing here? Well, why are you here? Like, I think I saw you. Hey, listen, let me tell you this. Don't you worry about it, all right? Like, let's not try to make this thing messy, all right? Let us just kidnap the children of Elbaf and we'll be out of your hair. And Zoro's like, nah, see, it doesn't work like that. You came here, ruined the party of old friends, us and the giants, and now you wanna kidnap their kids? Well, nah, it doesn't work like that. Summers was like, well, it's already underway. My partner over there, Killingham, he'll be taking care of all that, so don't you worry about it. And then Zoro was like, buddy, listen, I don't think you understand. My partner is also going over there, and I do not think that your partner will be getting out of this alive. So Zoro is now glazing Sanji. This is Sanji's moment. If you don't recognize that, I think you should rewatch the story, reread the story, understand it a bit more. Alright? Because these two, they're constantly bumping heads. Zoro and Sanji, and their fan base as well. Always. Who is stronger? Who is a better character? Whatever. I think we all know who the better character is. But the stronger part, they will always butt heads. Thing is, Oda said that these two will be the wings of the Pirate King. And yes, fine. You can say that Zoro is perhaps slightly stronger or whatever, but in general, they're in the same level, right? And the thing that did not get Sanji over the edge was that Zoro, he's got Conqueror's Haki since Wano. And now, it is heavily hinted at that Sanji will get Conqueror's Haki as well. And you see, for me this was a beautiful moment. Because earlier in the arc, Sanji was deeply worrying about that thing. Please, like, he was telling Scopper, what about me, man? You're gonna talk about Luffy having Conqueror's Haki and also Zoro it oozing off of him. But what about me? And Oda kind of hid that part away from us. He kind of cut away. But it was for the purpose of this chapter. See, now Oda shows us that Scopper told Sanji. He told him, you have the potential. Thing is, there is something about you that you're uneasy with yourself. There is something about your personality, something about your heritage that you have not quite yet accepted and taken on. In order to be a king, you have to think like one. You have to be willing to be the best at something, right? That's like not in quotation, but that's how I explain it. And so Sanji is laying there on the ground after he kicked Killingham and Killingham fired an attack back at him. He's laying there on the ground, not even thinking about the fight necessarily, but more so thinking about his captain, how he wants to be inspired by him, how he wants to know how his captain thinks, and also Zoro, because Zoro is a conqueror, so that goes hand in hand. Now, do I think that Zoro versus Summers and Sanji versus Killingham will be the end-all fight for these two characters, or these four characters? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Summers and Killingham do not deserve an extreme fight. They deserve an ass whipping. Just like Luffy gave to Summers a couple of chapters back, and just like Sanji did to Killingham pre the Emu power-up thingy. And also I have a question for every One Piece fan that thinks that this fight and this arc is going to wrap up shortly. Thing is, yes, we have everything going around in the world. We have Blackbeard, we have Dragon, we have the Celestial Dragons, the Shamrock, and Garling, or whatever. Everything that is going on. But answer me this question, please. Why do you think that Frankie got a power-up out of nowhere? Why do you think that it is just now that Frankie got a power-up in which he barely used? He was okay, he was flying off. He destroyed one monster, one nightmare monster alongside Jinbei and the others. But it seems kind of random to me to give Frankie such a power-up, but him not having to fight somebody that is equally or a bit stronger than him. Maybe not a 1v1. Maybe Frankie won't fight against somebody 1v1. But that is my point. All of the Straw Hats are kind of getting built up to being a little bit stronger than what they already are, but that's natural. We're in the final saga, so that ain't random. We're in the final saga. One Piece is gonna probably wrap up in 3 to 4 years max, something like that. So why not give them these power-ups? But also, they have to use these power-ups to do something, alright? Everybody is speaking about the parallels with earlier arcs and how Elbaf just feels like a pre-time skip arc because of the adventure, because of the comedy, because of how the way everything is laid out in a very non-standard way. I mean, Luffy doesn't quite know why he's fighting Emu. He just feels it in his bones that Loki is fighting this guy and this guy is terrible. He doesn't know why Emu was going after Elbaf. That's my point. And so why is all of these Straw Hats getting these power-ups? Frankie getting the Super Cola. Sanji getting the Conqueror's Haki. You got potentially Brook as well with Oda hyping it up. Hyping his swordsmanship up. in his own flashback, but you can't forget about Chopper, because Chopper actually knocked out. He knocked out the Domi Reversi flat out on its ass. And he didn't even need to kill a Domi Reversi person. You see, the Domi Reversi, as you know, because you read the chapters, the Domi Reversi can be reversed back to normal if you kill the Domi Reversi person. I hope I'm making sense. No. But Chopper, on the other hand, he did not kill a giant that was Domi Reversi. No, he punched him. He just slapped his face. And so the giant was back to normal again. If that is not giving us some Chopper devil fruit lore, that there is something more about him, that there is something more about his devil fruit that meets the eye, then I don't know. So why are all of these Straw Hats getting power-ups? Now, why? Tell me why. If you can't, I have a theory on it. Reminiscing to pre-time skip One Piece, we will be getting the entire crew against the enemy of this arc, which is Imu. Because now we know that. Before we did not quite know who is going to be the enemy. People thought it was just gonna be the Holy Knights. People thought it was Loki, myself included. That is not the case. Now that Imu is here, we could still get that Straw Hat versus Oars moment. All the Straw Hats standing side by side as their captain faces the person that gave him maximum difficulty. More than Kaido, perhaps. Even more than Kaido. And so they have to help him to maybe draw the match against Imu, because I just don't think Imu's going out this arc. We need him for the final arc of the series, or maybe the one before that, because I don't think quietly Imu, it's hard, but I don't think Imu will be on Laugh Tale at the end of the series. I think that's specifically made for Blackbeard. But in the final war, when we head to Marie-Joie, because we gotta be there. We gotta head to Marie-Joie, right? The Straw Hats have got to see who's up there and what is going on there. I think we will see Imu's full potential and his full power and potentially his final form in Marie-Joie. So he's gonna have to dip out of Elbaf at some point, but it will not be in a couple of chapters. This will not be an easy fight. This will be a very hard task. And Luffy, he can't do it by himself. I've read the spoilers, I'm sorry. I've read the spoilers for next chapter, chapter 1188. And that confirms this theory that Luffy cannot possibly do it by himself. And even Loki, if Loki is with him, he cannot do it by himself. And even if Zoro and Sanji are with them, they cannot do it by themselves. They need the entirety of the Straw Hat crew. You let me know what you thought about this video in the comments. I hope you enjoyed. I did my best. I'm back. Just like Cristiano, he said I'm back, and now I'm back. So, as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.